weird walk-up song.
Hey guys, how are we doing? I'm okay. I love the costumes. I love me some Halloween. Y'all look beautiful. Great things going on. Well, I want to talk a little bit about fail, but I want to recap from last week. So if you don't mind hitting that first video, I think this is kind of something that we learned a little bit last week. Guys, that's my sister! That's my sister, just over and over again. I got that video and that was the best thing I've ever seen. She just, bam, keeps hitting that car. She was in Italy, so she had no idea. She just was like, I just pretended like I was hurt and kind of walked off. And the Italian man was just yelling at me in Italy, or like in Italian, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was great. I cried laughing for days after that. That went viral, that's everywhere. I think there's another one from one of great students who
Do you like burn my leg?
What's on about running upstairs after this?
Wait, what?
Awesome. Oh man. Those
Hey
are
Kayla,
so great.
hey Kayla,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
What?
I have
One more I'd like to show. Jennifer, can you show that last one that you showed?
Look at it. Oh my gosh. This is a joke. Okay.
Kayla doesn't like bugs, y'all.
I thought it was a bug. Sue me. Oh my goodness. Okay, so pretty much what we got from last week is fail videos are awesome. If you know the people in the fail videos, it's even better because then you get to ridicule them to their face and just laugh for days. I think the point of that, though, is that we love watching fail videos, but we hate being the person on the other side of the screen that fails. We hate being that person. I mean, you hate seeing the videos. It probably did not feel good, right, Lily? Did not feel good. Oh, no, no, sorry. Yeah. So it kind of sucks being on the other side of the fail videos. But tonight I'm here to talk about what true failure looks like. So we laugh and we make fun and stuff like that, and we get to see those funny fail videos, but is that truly failure? The face of failure doesn't look like that. Failure looks like all of us know that we've seen it. Everyone has experienced failure at some point in their life. Everyone knows what that feels like. It doesn't feel like falling downstairs and having a viral video and all that kind of stuff. It does not feel like that. It feels like being sucker punched because you just failed at something that you wanted, maybe desired with all your heart. So the true face of failure is failing a whole lot. So, for example, it's like studying. I know somebody said earlier that they're studying for the ACT, or the SAT. It's like studying for the SAT for months in advance. Going to every tutor that you know, paying tons of money, getting to the day of the exam, spending 4 hours in an SAT, that's the worst, spending 4 hours in an SAT and coming back and realizing that you failed the exam by 100 points to get into the college that you needed to get into. Now your parents are mad at you, now you don't get to go to that school because that was the last chance. Or failure is when you wake up to a text message and it's from your boyfriend that you've been dating for a while and you're pretty serious and it's like, can we talk? And you get that pit in your stomach and you know what's coming next. And instead of waiting, they just tell you, hey, I want to break up. This is over. And you're devastated. Or it's that moment when you don't see your name or your number on the list for the tryouts you've been going through for weeks. And you have paid tons of coaches, you've been on every select team, and you don't make the team. You show up and you do not make the team. That's the face of failure. Everyone knows a moment in their life where they can look back and be saying, wow, I really did fail there. But is that true failure? True failure aren't those things. Real failure is saying after any of those moments that I give up, that I'm not trying anymore, stopping right where it is. So instead of taking that SAT class, true failure, real failure would be sitting there going, I'm done. I don't care about school anymore. I'm not getting into the college I want. My life's over. My parents are mad at me. I'm over this. I'm just going to not care about anything else that comes after this. Or real failure is that moment where you write off all men because somebody broke your heart and you're not willing to put yourself back out there. Real failure is when you know that you're supposed to be on that team and you don't work your butt off for the next year trying to get better in order to be on that team. Real failure is when you stop dead in your tracks and you say, I'm done, I'm over it. Failure is your personal experience, and everyone here, failure is universal, guys. Everyone here experiences failure at some point in their life. It's not feeling, laughing, and cracking up at funny videos. Yeah, that's failing. But true, real failure is that moment where you feel shame, you feel guilt, you're humiliated, you're disappointed, you're sad, you're angry, and you're frustrated. And you sit in that pit of your stomach feeling. When you fail, when that failure is happening, those are the things that come and attack you. That's failure. But real failure is if you let those things sit with you and you don't pick yourself back up and try again. Real failure is if you let that shame, you let that guilt, you let that frustration take over the rest of your life and you don't persevere. You don't stand up and you don't say, I'm going to face this and I'm going to pursue my passions. I'm going to be faithful. I'm going to keep moving forward. Real failure is when you stop and you wallow in it. So in our culture, in our Western culture, we have this kind of weird thing about failure. The West is a lot different, guys. If you don't know, we're in the West. We're the Western culture. It's really different from the rest of the world. The rest of the world sees failure in a very different way than we do. In the West, in our culture, we see not doing something well immediately means you just aren't good at it. So if I can't play basketball well right from the beginning, I might as well just not play. I'm not very good at it, If I can't sing well right when I start, then why try? Losers lose and winners win, and that's it. There's no in-between. It's just losers and winners. That's how our culture sees failing. If you're not the best, you're not good enough. If you can't do it immediately, you're not good enough. If you're great at something, you have to be great at it from the beginning. That's our culture. That's how we see failing. We don't hear the rest of it where it takes years of practice in order to get better at something. Who likes to practice? No one likes to practice here, right? It takes up a lot of time. We want to be naturally great at things. We love the people that are naturally great at things, the naturally talented people, because that allows us to not have to be that person who has to get up there and try something. Because if we get up there and try something and we fail, we feel like failure is the end. Our culture says that over and over and over again to us. That if we are not immediately great at something, then why is it worth trying? Someone else is better. You can let them do it. Because if I get up there and I fail, then it's the end for me. If we have the mindset that failure is final, how are we supposed to keep pursuing our call? If we have the mindset that failure is final, then we have an unwillingness to work at something. So just think about it for a minute. If you knew that the first time around, if you completely can't go back, then you're not going to want to do it because you're not going to want to fail because you can't start over. It's like playing a video game and not having any lives when you do die. Failing feels like that sometimes. Feeling like you have no lives to go back to and that the failure is the end. But that creates an unwillingness to work. We have to change this culture of unwillingness and how failure is viewed. Failure, true failure, is stopping. True failure is not getting back on the horse and saying, you know what, I gotta try this again. True failure is wallowing in those negative, frustrating, sadness, anger, wallowing in those things and saying, this is all I can do. Failure is crippling, guys. In the midst of failure, everyone knows this. Everyone sees this feeling. Everyone has been there when they have wanted something so bad and they lose it. But you know, in that midst of that feeling of sadness and anger, that you just want to lay down and die sometimes. I've been there. I know it. I've experienced it. That you don't want to get back up. It's so much easier said than done. So why do we even dare to get back up? Well, one thing is that the Lord has given each person here a purpose. Each and every single one of you has been given a purpose by the Lord to do what He has called you to do. If you're meant to be the person that discovers the cure for cancer, one of you could be that person, but you're going to fail a whole lot to get to that point. You're going to fail a ton. That's why cancer's not cured right now. But that could be somebody's destiny. What if it was one of y'all's destiny? The Lord has given you the tools, but you say, I'm done. I didn't discover it the first time around. I didn't discover it the second time around, or the 17th, or the 100th. And you just stop. But the Lord has called you to something. The Lord has put a purpose and a destiny on your heart so that you can keep going out and do what He needs you to do. There's this guy in the Bible, and I don't know if you guys know him, but his name's Peter. He was the first pope. And if you have your Bibles, you can open to John 21. John 21. We're at 15. I'm just going to kind of give you a quick little summary of it, but Jesus died. Jesus was dead. Yeah, Jesus died. He was crucified. And this is the time afterwards when He was resurrected and He was with His disciples. Peter had looked Jesus dead in the eye and said, I don't know who you are. Jesus was beaten, bloody, tormented. Our God that was crucified on the cross. Peter, his best friend, think about your best friend that you've known for years. Think about that person looking you dead in the eye and saying, I don't know who they are. I don't care about this person. He denied Him not once. Peter denied Christ 3 times. 3 times he said, I don't know who this is. And he knew it was coming too. The Lord said, you will deny me. And Peter goes and denies Him. Well, the thing about it is to fast forward a couple of days. Christ had died, resurrected, and was back with His disciples. And said, go catch some fish. Well, they caught a ton of fish. And they pull him up to shore. And Peter's standing there. And Jesus looks at him. And He said, do you love me? Jesus said to Peter, do you love me? He asked him that 3 times. Do you love me? Dead in the eye. And Peter said every time, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Do you love me? Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And he kept asking him that question. That would be uncomfortable. That would be weird for your best friend to ask you so many times, like, do you love me? But at the same time, Peter had denied Him. He had failed his best friend. And then the Lord says to him, if you love me, then go feed my sheep and tend to my sheep. Guys, Jesus Christ made one of the biggest failures of people, right? Peter failed, ultimately denying Christ. He made one of the biggest failures, the Pope, the first Pope, the person that would tend to all of the sheep and send everyone out to make decisions, to raise people from the dead. Jesus looks at this man and says, I know that you have more in you. You cannot give up. You have permission to fail. You have permission to struggle, but you do not have permission to stop. The Lord says it right there. He says it to Peter. You have permission to fail. You have permission to struggle. You did fail me. You looked me dead in the eye 3 times and said that you don't know me. The risen Lord, who you just said a couple of days ago, that is the Lord God. But you do not have permission to stop. And that's that moment, giving Peter that his destiny. Someone is counting on Peter, just like someone's counting on you. It might not even be a person in here. You could be sitting next to your friend. You could not be sitting next to your friend. But someone in this world is counting on you to get up and keep trying. Maybe that's your mom. Maybe that's your little sister. I know my little sister. I could never give up trying because I would never want to give up on her. You can fail, but you can't really, truly fail. By stopping, that is real, true failure. The lies of our culture, that you have to be immediately great at it. You can't try, you can't fail. You can't get below 75 on your test. If you're not valedictorian, who are you? If you're not on all these teams and all these activities, then who are you? The lies of our culture have to stop now. And it starts with all of us. Saying, I'm done, I'm going to fail, I accept my failure, I will get back up. And in the midst of that, you're going to feel like crap. Failure does feel like crap, guys. That's why it feels like failure. That's why they call it failure. But the Lord has a purpose for each time that we fail. The Lord looks at each of us and allows us to fail for a purpose. Let me say that again. The Lord allows us to fail sometimes for a purpose. And that purpose is to lose well, to learn how to lose well. Losing doesn't come naturally. We like to win. We like to celebrate. We like to be free. We like to be excited. We like people to glorify us. But the Lord has to knock us down sometimes through our failure and say, no, you have to learn how to lose well. Because guys, if you have not failed now, you will at some point, I can make this guarantee to you, you will at some point fail hard. And it will feel crushing. And we have to learn how to lose well. We have to create a culture that allows us to practice failing and to practice losing well. We have to take all those negative feelings of shame, frustration, sadness, guilt. We have to take them, put them together, and change them to the positive of determination, of perseverance, of faithfulness, of trust. Take those negative things and turn them into a positive. That is losing well. That is what failure is. That's what allows us to do. The most successful people in this entire world are the people that have failed multiple times. Thomas Edison didn't create the light bulb and electricity and give us these awesome lights in one try. He tried thousands of times to create electricity. And now we all benefit. If he had chosen to wallow in his failure, we would not all probably be sitting here with lights on, with all the cool things that we have. Failure is such a personal thing. It hits all of us at some point in our lives. I think the Lord has brought me to this point to have this talk for a very specific purpose. Over the last, couple years, I've been learning how to lose well. And guys, I can tell you, I have not been doing good at it. I will admit that. I am bad at losing. But one of the biggest things, my own personal biggest failure in my entire life that I have let down is what I've been going through the past couple of years. I had a friend, my best friend through college. We had met a long time ago, and we were super close, and we got to work at camp together. And we were each other's person. We got to be together. And after school was done, after college was done, we moved back down and we're trying to decide were we going to date or not. And I told him at that time that after months of praying and trying to figure out what the Lord wanted me to do, I decided that I didn't want to. So I told him no. Well, after the next few months, we went through extreme loss together. We saw death. And I came to realize that I didn't want that answer to be no. I would change my mind. But he called and told me one day that he had started dating our best friend, the other friend that we had. And at that moment in my life, I had failed. I had felt failure so real and so deep. That pit, that wanting to lay down and die feeling, I had felt it to my core. The wind got knocked out of me. My world changed from that moment. But the thing is, I didn't stop trying. Months went by, we didn't speak. Our relationship was completely different. And I called him one time and I said, hey, can you come over? We need to talk. And there, I tried to tell him again, like, I don't want this to be over. And I not only learned what failure felt like, I learned rejection as well. Now, the Lord taught me so much loss within that span. My best friend died. I lost my other best friend. I failed everything it felt like. My job, my friends, my family. I felt like everything got swept out from underneath me. Well, a year and a half later, I still struggle with those negative feelings. I still feel that feeling of failing. But I'm reminded time and time again that I did not fail because I tried over and over again. And I'm not saying go and pursue somebody that turns you down. Don't do that. But what I'm saying is I didn't give up trying. I got back on the horse. I have a wonderful person in my life that I get to spend time with that reminds me of who I am. I did not get knocked down to not get back up. I had the freedom to fail. I had the freedom to struggle hard. And the Lord taught me what struggling looks like. But I got back up. I did not stop. And I'm here today because I did not stop. I was learning to lose. And guys, guess what? We have a Lord that knows what that failure feels like. The Lord was crucified. To the world, it looked like he died. To the world, to everyone that wasn't Christian. Guys, there weren't Christians. That wasn't a thing back then. Everyone else, the Pharisees, the Sanhedrians, or however you say that. Everyone else thought that Christ was taken care of, that it was over, it was done. He's on the cross, he's dead. The Lord came back 3 days later and said, joke's on you, I'm back. I didn't fail. But he knows what that failure looks like. He knows what that feeling is. He died. He went up to Calvary. He had to carry his own cross. That's what failure looked like. He knows how you feel. We don't have a Lord that doesn't know how you feel. So today, we get to make decisions. Today and every day, we get to make a decision. Are you going to stop in your tracks, lay over, roll over, and just let it wallow? Or are you going to keep moving forward? The Lord knows your failure. That's the most beautiful thing. He knows what you have done. He knows your failure. And he still has a beautiful call for each and every single one of you. Because he knows that you can lose well if you allow yourself. And guys, it's not easy. I just told you my story. That wasn't a feeling of losing well. But I'm learning. Stopping is the true failure. So ask yourself, Is there something I'm truly, truly failing at? Is there something I'm stopping at? And pray to the Lord, who knows failure, to help you get back up and try again. Because failing is only when you stop. And you have the freedom to fail and to struggle.